Islam, Islam.
Islam.
We want to thank everybody for coming out. This is the Moorish Science Temple of America, Subordinate Temple 12. We're happy to see everybody and glad everybody came out to see us. We're glad to come out and see all y'all. We got a few things we're gonna go over. See, we got started a little bit late, so it'll be a short session, but no doubt impactful. We got our grand historian over here, Chris Gray L, making his debut. So we're going to go over a little something in chapter 1. Chapter 1 is usually a chapter that most people kind of just breeze on through and go on to the next chapter without no questions. And just kind of get on through it because there's a lot of information in a short period. You know, there's no numbers in there. It's just a straight little essays form. It just goes right to the point. But it's packed with a lot of information. So we're going to read a part of it, try to get to what we want to get out of it. Today begins our third sessions of the 10 days. We have 3 10-day sessions in Ramadan. This is the third one where we seek the protection from the hellfire, from those things that are disorderly, and we think that they're random, but we're causing havoc our own selves. You know, I had my wife's mother. She used to say that people are hell raisers. They ain't nothing but hell raisers. She used to call them, and so we be the ones causing most of all of that. So we're going to try to focus in on that so we can get that protection. We can seek the forgiveness of Allah and receive the benefit of avoiding or trying to avoid or attempting to lessen the time in hell. You know, so get ourselves out of there. Islam? So we're going to try to bring about some clarification. We're going to go into chapter 1, and we're going to go into the last chapter 1, the page 4. And we're going to go to the last paragraph, and midway through, it's going to say, the Lord of the plain. Everybody see that? Lord of the plain?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's on page 4. Page 4. And it's going to say, let's just go up a little bit to the human seed. It says, the human seed that came forth from the heart of Allah was foreordained to be the Lord of the plane of soul and of the plane of things made manifest. So Allah, the husbandman of everything that is, threw forth this human seed into the soil of soul. It grew apace, and man became a living soul. So before then, it was the soul was there, but it wasn't living. Islam? So man now became a living soul, right? You got a body yet? No body. Islam. And he became the Lord of all the kingdom of the soul. Now, this is a very interesting statement here. That he became the Lord of all the kingdom of the soul. Why is the word kingdom being used here? Right? We know what a kingdom is? Many tribes and nations in the kingdom. So we don't just have a one thing going on here. There's multitude of things going on. So the concept that there's one person that begot everybody is not really a concept that's feasible. So this is saying on the plane of soul that there was many. There was a kingdom. You know what I'm saying? It's kingdom. He's going to be over the kingdom. Lord of all the kingdom of the soul. Hark now, let every creature hear. The plane of soul is but the ether of the spirit, plane, vibrating not so fast, And in the slower rhythm of this plane, the essence of life. Now, what is the essence?
The spirit.
Islam. You know, most of the time I ask somebody that question, they come up with a lot of things, but that's the spirit. It's the being. It's the being. Whenever you see something say being, then that's the essence of it. It's the being of it. It's itself. You see, Islam. Anything on that? Anybody got anything on that? You have something in a minute though. Start clearing up. It said so. It says that the slower rhythms of the plane, the essence of life are manifest. It says that, and in the slower rhythms of this plane, the essence of life are manifest. The perfumes and the odors, the true sensations, and the awe of love manifest. Okay, now this is the most critical part of our Quran. If you can get this chapter 1, you're gonna see a whole lot different. You know, we starting in the middle. We started here just to get a particular point, but we're gonna make it a habit of going back to this and trying to refer everything back to this chapter 1, which you will be able to do. Because he's saying here the sensations. What are sensations?
Sensation is a feeling.
Energy.
Islam.
Energy is. I don't want to use the word feelings in the sense that a lot of times people attach emotions and feelings together, and I don't think that this is what
it's not.
That's referring to that energy that does not have an attachment.
Right. So anything else? Sensation. So for one to put it like this, for one to have a sensation, what would they have to be?
A being.
Yes, and the being would have to be self-aware. There's a lot of beings that's not self-aware, or we can't ascertain if it's self-aware. But to have a sensation means that I'm going to be able to say what the sensation is. So I have to be self-aware.
Now, for me, that sensation would be an urge.
It could be.
It's an urge.
It could be, right. It's a driving force.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that's becoming self-aware of some things.
The need to do.
Right. So now this is what he's saying here. So the essence of life are manifest. The perfumes and odors. The perfumes are something that's made to smell a particular way, covered to mask, caused to be. So those things, he's saying that these things are in slowed down in this essence, are the essence, and they're slowed down. And odors are what they are giving off. You say that's a strong odor, that's a not so strong odor. That's a strong perfume, that's a not so strong perfume. I got judgment on that. It could be either one or, right? So the sensation is me being self-aware of that, and odors is me being able to ascertain them, engage things around me. All of these things is taking place with this. And the true sensations and all of love manifest. Now, what do you mean, all of love?
You ain't got love, you ain't got nothing.
But it's telling us that all of love is made manifest. Let me read it here in its entirety so we can get the whole thing. Hark now, let every creature hear. The plane of soul is but the ether of the spirit plane, vibrating not so fast. And in the slower rhythm of this plane, the essence of life are manifest. The perfumes and odors, the true sensations, and the all of love manifest. Now it's saying the all of love. What is this? Because you know there's no physical form. It's the essence of this. Islam?
Islam.
So there's no physical form. So it's telling us the all of love. So love doesn't have love doesn't have a physical form. It's all of it. So it has an essence just as everything else has an essence. So love can't be then somebody saying that hey, that's my child, so I have to feed him because it's my child and I love him. That's how you know I love my child, because I feed him, I take care of him, all this. No, that ain't quite love. That's an aspect of love, but it said the all of love. You know what I'm saying? And all of love is manifest, right?
You know, the exact all of love is
huge. It deals with all of it. So we're going to go ahead and skip over to page 5, and we're going to go to page 5, and we're going to go to
What's on here?
Okay, here we go. We're gonna go at page 5 at the top of the page, 3 sentences in. All right, and it says upon the boundary. We see that? Okay, it says upon the boundary. Now, what's the boundary?
A limit.
Right, it's a limit. It's a marker that's saying that this is as far as this is going to be able to go. And normally we can say that I'm going to say to you, hey, the boundary is that pylon right there. Once you pass that pylon, you something else. You in something else, geographically or socially or mentally, whatever it is. If I say that's the boundary to it, then you've met that boundary and it's over with. The baby comes to a boundary. If they can't get out, they can't expand inside of the uterus past that boundary. And what happened?
Well, if the baby tries to expand outside, the baby is born. It can't expand outside.
Exactly. So what happens? It becomes manifest.
Right.
We couldn't see it, but now it becomes
Now we can
manifest.
see it.
So this is an analogy.
Mhm.
So when the baby gets to the boundary of that uterus, it can't get no bigger in there. So it transforms. Now it's in a whole nother world. It's don't met the boundary. It's in a new space. All right. So it says here that upon the boundary of the plane of soul, the ether began to vibrate slower still, and then the essence took on a final garb. Now, what was the essence? We said again.
Spirit.
Right. The being, the trueness of it. We've seen that. So it's taken on a final garb now because it's made it to a point like the baby did. It has to make this journey. It has to continue on because it's growing. So it met its boundary. So upon that boundary, it has to make its change. So it says here that it took on a final garb. The perfumes and odors and the true sensations and the all of love were what?
Clothed in flesh.
Ah. So the sensations, the odors and the smell, the flesh has a flesh.
Mhm.
You see? And what else has a flesh?
Animals.
This is the all right. A tree.
Tree.
All of these things are endowed with a flesh. It's not just the flesh of human beings. We have the flesh of everything that manifests. You know what I'm saying? So we know that these things were in essence. Now they have moved onto manifestation. Just like the baby was just in essence, and time went on, when it met that boundary, boom, it came on out. So the same thing is happening here. But the thing about it is that it says, and the odors and the true sensation and the all of love was clothed in flesh. Now what is going on with that? How is love clothed in flesh?
Was it naked?
It's fun because love, if we go back to, and I'm saying go back, but it will be if we go forward, because if we're actually studying what love is and what love's purpose is, and that John paved the way for love, which was Jesus, then Jesus at one point manifested in flesh, so love manifested in flesh, and we are that also.
Right. So and that's the next statement. He says here, and love was clothed in flesh, and man was clothed in flesh. So he made a distinction. Love and man is not the same thing. See? So it's so when people go that, you know, hey, I love you, you know I love you because of this. No, that's not what that is. That's a misinterpretation. You know, that's something that's, I mean, it may be secular, I would have to say. But in a spiritual sense, love is the flesh that we all have. And it's the flesh that all of the other things have. Islam? So you are in a symbiotic relationship with all of those things because they came into essence together as a being, as one being, as a wholeness, and it works together. When we get outside of that symbiotic relationship, we harm those things, and we harm ourselves, and we cause injury to ourselves. So we get sick. The body gets sick, it gets tired, it get a whole lot of different things going on. And we're gonna find out why do we do that to our own selves. We'll see, because in our natural state, we wouldn't do it because we know better. But we're gonna see what influences us to do such a thing. So we see love as the flesh of the things that are surrounding us. So why? If you didn't have no flesh, it wouldn't be no love. If the apple didn't have no flesh, wouldn't be no. The tree didn't have no flesh, they wouldn't be manifest. Wouldn't be no love. So it's taking care of you. It's looking out for you.
It's like that Little Caesars commercial. We told him, "Whoa, that's too much for one day, young man.
That's too much.
That's too much for one day."
Chapter one is a very deep chapter. That's what I say. Most people read chapter 1 and move on. They read right on through it and keep going because it's a lot in here, you know. And I'm giving the top view of it. You know, this will get real deep, but I just want to make a couple points here so that we can tie this into our spirituality that's going on, particularly right now in an avoidance of hell. You see, which is the last 10 days of Ramadan, which we are now in, right? So we'll be able to avoid that. We want to try to avoid that at all costs. Because we want to avoid, you know, the hellish behavior and everything, right? So, so the perfumes, the odors, and the sensations and all of love were clothed in flesh, and man was clothed in flesh. Perfected man must pass through all the ways of life. All right? And so a carnal was full manifest. Oh. Now,
So like something happened there.
What is the carnal? Because we didn't say that carnal came from an essence. It came through the soul and everything else. It didn't. It's don't appear now after the fact. Just like before, we knew wasn't nobody, and it was the planet we hadn't seen the body yet. So now, when we get to the things made manifest, we see physical manifestations of bodies of all kind of things. Now, but we didn't see a body for carnal. We didn't see it become. So it's saying here that now something happened here. It said, perfected man must pass through all the ways of life. So now he's alive, he's manifest. Now he needs to pass through all the ways of life, right? And so a carnal was manifest. Now, a nature that sprang forth from fleshly things. Now, we got to stop right there. That's an important thing. The nature sprang forth from fleshly things. So from all of the things that's out here that is flesh, this nature sprung from that. Now, why is it called carnal? Think about the word. Carnal. Would everybody want to stop eating? What? No. Meat.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They don't.
I'm messing with that sister.
I know they don't.
But in any event, what happened is once the manifestation took place, there was not a time before that where people feasted and ate upon each other. So the things of the flesh didn't consume each other.
They didn't need to.
Exactly. So now you came into a situation where now it's time to eat. So we eat upon the fleshly things. So we consuming flesh. Before time, there was no time for that. There was no point in that. Islam? Mm-hmm. So that's why our carnal nature is developed, because of what you consume. So you wonder why people say you are what you eat. So
you mean tell me everybody wouldn't like the T-Rex?
Right. You eat a T-Rex, you might be a little mean. You might get a little, you know, it's like somebody to eat rabbit, and then the other guy, he only eat tiger and lions. And this one only eat, you know, rabbits.
Strawberry.
So you may have a difference, you know, if you have, 1,000 people eating only lions and tigers, and these people only eating rabbits and coons and pops, docile things, you might see a big difference in those people's attitudes.
Yeah. Let me jump in here on this one. At the words of Grand Sheik. Let me jump in on this. Prime example is, if you ever noticed, if they're hitting a cow upside the head or a bull somewhere in a butcher shop and they strike it, right? And they don't knock it unconscious. So it's still up moving around. After a while, it would send out shock waves through its body that has been distressed. So then they hit it again. You're not supposed to like, same thing if you shoot, not to get, but if you kill a deer to eat, you want to get it out of the way fast, not let it struggle. Because once you eat that meat, then it's a part of you. Yeah, as he say, you are what you eat.
So, right.
So
So you see that that's the carnal. So all of the things that we eat is things of flesh. That's why it's a carnal nature. Islam?
Islam.
So that's why we have a carnal. So that's why you have a carnal nature. Now, it says it sprang forth from fleshly things. It says without a foe, soldier never knows the strength, and the thought must be developed by the exercise of strength. And so the carnal nature soon became a foe that man must fight, that he might be the strength of Allah made manifest. So the carnal became a foe that he must fight. Now what is the carnal again? That we came through the flesh, right? The fleshly things that we end up with that nature coming from that. So it's not an accident that we end up that Ramadan is being prescribed for us. It's not an accident that Ramadan is being prescribed for us, because that is for us to pull back from eating and allowing those fleshly things that we devour to rule our life, to rule our station that we're in. And we have to move to a higher station, as in Jesus decided to fast for the 40 days, and he went out and he done what he did and became successful. He had to rule over the carnal things. He had to rule over these fleshly things, right? So if we don't have an opportunity to get the fleshly things under wraps, then we would definitely will not be able to be successful in avoiding the hellfire, because the hellfire is the fleshly things are the pathway to the hellfire, to the hell.
Sounds like control of the lower self.
Right. So you
walk around like that T-Rex.
Islam. So those are the things that we have to look at and decide, hey, these are how we're going to be successful, is by limiting the consumption of fleshly things, right? So if we continue to just arbitrarily consume, then we'll never be able to reach our potential, because that carnal is a foe for us, and it will completely win. But we've been gifted with a particular month and a particular day that we have a better chance at being successful over the carnal things, which is Friday is a holy day for us, and the month of Ramadan that comes every year. So for those days, we are in a position to be able to be successful over these carnal things, so we can avoid then the hell that we will be in. Now, have you not noticed that while you've been fasting through these, we in the third 10-day session? Have you not noticed at the first 10, now in the second 10, that now you become a lot calmer and more peaceful? That, you just kind of chilling, and you looking at people that's not chilling, and you going, wow, either something wrong with me, or it's really wild. They really, you know what I'm saying? But you looking at them because you can see that you out of sorts with where they at. You very peaceful, and you calm. Might be hungry sometimes, but you can definitely see that you're peaceful. And a lot of people don't have that peace, and you can't blame it on that. It's a high pull of the Satan, the devil, the evil spirits, and all that, because those things are bound during the month of Ramadan to give you the greatest chance for success. Islam. Yeah, greatest chance for success. Now we have a few more minutes here. I knew we was gonna make that short. We want to get it in. And did everybody see the connection between how we became and that development of how we got here, and the love and what love is through our flesh, and how now we're fasting to avoid being dominated by the flesh. You see? And the flesh is our route. That is our fastest route to the hell. The fleshly things is our fastest route to the hell. So that is why we have to be cognizant of how we came into existence and what came into existence of it. Because if we all sit and think, hey, I'm the only thing that's made out of flesh. Everything else is made out of something else. It doesn't have flesh. Right. That flesh is just as important as your flesh. So the love is spread equally. And it's up to us to keep a harmonious relationship with all the things of flesh. Islam? So we all want to have that relationship with other fleshly things, you know, and we want to be able to be aware of it and promote it. Islam?
Islam. Auntie used to always say, baby, the flesh will always let you down.
Right.
Oh, she will always say that.
The flesh will always let
do something wrong. Yeah, the flesh will always let you down. You have to get control of yourself.
So, and yeah, you got to get control of yourself, because that is the principle behind Jesus coming and became love manifest. You know what I'm saying? He became at one with his surroundings. You know, he didn't go over and say, hey, you people over there that's Buddhists, I ain't talking to y'all. Y'all all going to hell. You people over there, the Confucians, y'all all going to hell. You Muslims all going to hell. You Christians all going. He didn't say none of that.
He got in the mix with
He went right. He went in with everybody. So that is why we, as Muslims in the more scientific America, we are really in America the first multi-faith organization. You know, we accept all of the divine prophets, Buddha, Confucius, yeah, all of them. You know, so we don't differentiate. We don't say, hey, well, you Buddhist, well, you can't come over here. Oh yeah, come on over here and share with us about this Buddha you talk about. This Buddha.
So the prophet said, do not speak ill of any other organization. So they'll tell you right there. So that's extending the love. Don't go out here and chop these folks down. You build yourself.
Yeah. So we got a couple minutes left before we have to cut this off. Anybody have anything they want to say about this topic or any other topic? You just want to ask something in? No? You did another day? Yes. Oh, the brother had another day of Ramadan. He's going good.
When the young brother's what, 12 years old, and he's doing Ramadan. So
yeah, and some grown people can't do it. Not one day.
I am coming off.
Won't even try it. Islam. No, that's stuff for Allah. You know, everybody do the best they can do at all times.
Islam. I am coming off probably my best Ramadan.
We agree.
A member. Yes, so it's like
we agree.
Sun up to sundown. You know what I mean? And well, you know, here's one thing we need to let people know: it's not to make you suffer.
It's not.
You know, so sometimes you might have to get some water or something. You have if you explain to the makeup days, you have to, you know, have some makeup days, you know. But other than that, it's about, like you said, curbing that urge. Right. And I am right now, I believe I'm Jordan in the fourth quarter right now. I'm shooting, baby. I'm out here shooting. I am like,
it's loud.
Now I'm looking like, oh, it's 9:05. I'm ready to do it. Last year, I was like, oh, good Lord, I done ate. You know what I'm saying? The first couple of years were short, but this year, I came into it strong. I love it. Feeling good. Next year, you know, so it's wonderful. I don't know how the fasting has been for y'all, but it's been, and I have clarity this year, sister.
Have you brothers found that it's easier to overcome your so-called demons while you're fasting, like during this time? Like if you've had an issue, you know, and then like on a regular basis.
Right.
But then like during this time of Ramadan now, right, it's like you've overcome it quickly, or it doesn't seem as, you know,
yeah,
like,
I believe
much of a mountain as it did prior.
Right. I believe that fasting does allow you to be able to accept some things that you normally wouldn't accept. And, you know, not just don't say nothing. Like, you know, when I'm not fasting, I'm a lot more hyped up than when it is that I'm fasting. And Oh.
You know, when I'm fasting, like I say, I just learned that if I don't eat nothing, I ain't got to put up with Jamaica.
Islam.
So it's good to fast.
We have a comment, and it came from Brother Douglas L. He said, having a support group has helped a lot because everywhere we go, people are eating constantly.
Right.
And I see that personally, that most places I go, but it does not bother me at all.
Well, you on your third one, you know, so it gets better. So as we develop, we get a little bit better. Like I said, even if you do like the brother did a couple days, 2 or 3 days, then you know next time he gonna go. I'm gonna do a week.
Yeah,
Before you know it, you doing.
What I was gonna say is that for like the first one or the second one, when people would eat, I would have to go take a walk because the thought of not just the smell of it, but the thought of the smell of the food would make me drool.
What's different this time?
This time, you know, I did some preparation, and part of the preparation for me was actually thinking about why I'm doing it. So it wasn't just I work in the medical field, and there's a lot of Muslim physicians, and they are mean and nasty. And what that said to me is that the reason that they're doing it is because they're doing it out of obligation. Right. But if what we say is there's no compulsion, then if you're just doing it out of obligation, what are you going to gain? Right. So nothing. So like this time I've been thirsty, and all I think about is, oh my goodness, there are people who have to go get this pot of water and share it with a whole village, and it gives me a whole different realization. So when I'm going through those moments of, I can't understand why this person isn't just doing this, I think back to that. The person isn't doing it because at this point where they are, they're just simply not capable of it because maybe they didn't even think about it. It's not personal. So that's like this is done for me.
Islam. Let me just tell you, I had a day like that where I came home from work and I immediately looked in the refrigerator and got ready to grab some water. I said, nope, I'm going to bed. You know what I'm saying? So I had to shut that off immediately. But what I do purchasing, receiving in the hospital and dietary. And like I said, so I'm around people eating all day. And this year, I jumped into the fire. I threw myself into it. I said a few times where people were eating, oh, that smells good. You want something? No, I'm good.
Right.
And they're looking like, you sure don't want it? No, I'm cool. I didn't have that urge. I purged myself.
I think
and I was so, happy with myself.
I think being that you have a familiarity with it, the first year you really don't know. So it's hard to set yourself, I can't eat, that's all you're thinking. Well, in the second year, you're thinking, I can't eat, but you know some other stuff that you can do. By the time you get to the third year of trying, you know, hey, I got things that I can put in place. I got reading, I can time myself a little bit better, so you get better at it. You know, it's not something that you would fail. Because even in here, it said, there is no failure for the human soul. Mm-hmm. For Allah is leading on and victory is sure. So when Allah has prescribed for you to fast, you can't fail. Just keep going because Allah is leading the way. And victory is sure. He's saying victory is sure. It's not a happenstance that some people might make it. No, you're gonna make it. You know, just how beat up you need to be to get there. You know, so we have that ability. Now, and we thinking about it.
I'm a warrior.
The flesh, from what you were saying, some people are very mean and irritable, you know, and that's because, like I say, they missed the beginning part of life. Is that there's a symbiotic relationship between all fleshly things. That means between me and you, there is a relationship. There's a relationship between me and the tree outside. You see? There. So we all have this relationship with these fleshly things. Therefore, with those things, we have obligations. Right? So when we start to fast, we have to keep in mind that those things too have an obligation to fast. So we try to stay at peace with them when they're irritable. And it's funny that you say that. I had a doctor. It was a lady. She practiced. I ain't gonna say her name. She practiced in Perrysburg, and I would go out there and man, Ramadan time. Now I'm fasting too, and she fasting, and I'm like, yeah, okay, sister, you know, yeah. Well, you're gonna have to be here on time. You gotta do this because I could just reschedule you and move you. I'm like, right? I'm like, yeah. We gonna go in here and get this done, or what we gonna do here? I'm just letting you know, just mean because she fasted. You know, it's normally not that mean. You know, so I said, ooh wee, I got to practice. Now I could have said, okay, well, you know, let me be mean back. You know, but I'm fasting and I understand that she's fasting. And some people miss that part about the symbiotic part. That all of the fleshly things are bound by cords, like the brother said. You know, so we have obligations to these things. And during Ramadan is a perfect time for us to be able to express that love that holds all these things together by flesh. Islam. And we're gonna go ahead and unless anybody got any questions
Before we
or statements.
roll out, I'm gonna say this with Allah love. If I have upset any of y'all during this time period, I am greatly sorry, deeply sorry. So I mean, because like you said, sometimes you know. So I do just want to say I love you and I love truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And that's all I got to say.
And with that, we're gonna let that be the last word. And we're gonna close out. If you have any questions after this, feel free to continue to ask. And if anyone decide they got a question out there, you can always text, email, or like the brother did, sent in a question for us, and we'll be able to answer it or get you the answers that you need. And with that, we're gonna call it a day. And everybody have a blessed last 10 days of Ramadan. Pick up the pace the last 10 days, and you will find in the last 10 days the night of power, upon which it's like 1,000 Ramadans. It's like you fasted 1,000 Ramadans. Your benefit is that. So if you catch that night of power, if you're up praying in the last third of the night, which should be somewhere around 2 o'clock, 2:30. So pray as many times as you can, as much as you can in that last 10 days. They say it's an odd day. It's an odd night that it's on there. So we know that everything begins, the actual credit for the day begins at the moon. So when the evening comes, we start another day. Islam. So we start our days in the evening. So be prepared. Islam.
Peace and love.
Close out with that. Prepare for the